like some of the others I heard, I had 2 words.
I did too.
I'm getting more affirmations here of the 2 words from others here. And they related to each other immensely. But as I think about those words, I think about those words for me are, I'm setting an intention because there's something about my world that I want to be different. Isn't necessarily, I don't have to think my world's flawed. I just want something different, maybe more in my world. And maybe you want more. Maybe it's more love and more happiness and more money and more house and more companions, more friends, more wealth, whatever that more might be. And your word may relate to that. It may also relate to you want less. Maybe you want less stress and less people and less conflict.
Less stuff.
Less stuff, yes. So your words might relate to that. But it's a word, and words have power, but it's still just a word. And even as I begin my year and I think about what affirmations I would like to hold and support for my year, those affirmations have power. They're relevant to me. But the word and the affirmations don't seem to be quite enough for me. There's something missing for them, for me to feel like I can manifest that in my life. So today we're going to talk about what that is that I think is relevant, that helps us manifest. Because Charles Fillmore gives us this idea of mind, idea, expression, that in the divine mind, every possibility, every idea is held. And in our mind, that we pluck out those ideas, right? We pull one and we bring it into our world, but it's still for us to manifest that. But we had to bring it into mind first before we could ever manifest it. So that mind, idea, expression. And we're going to explore a little more around that. And I'm going to do it in my usual eclectic style. I'm going to throw a little music at you. When I get to the end, I'm going to play you something that I have no idea what you're going to think about. We're going to find out. So, oh yeah. Marianne Williamson tells us that personal transformation can and does have global effects. As you go, so goes the world. For the world is us. The revolution that will save the world is ultimately personal. So I think about the words and my affirmations and what we do with our burning bowl and our white stone ceremony are about me, about us, about changing me, but that I have an impact in this world. And I don't hold a vision that I'll ever be Dr. Martin Luther King. That's not a vision that I'll hold, that 60 years from now, people will be celebrating my words. I don't hold that. But I do know that, nonetheless, I still impact this world. I impact the lives around me, sometimes beautifully and sometimes not so beautifully, but nonetheless, I impact it. We'll play one more song here for us in the early part. Read the lyrics. Think about these lyrics as these work. Through the days, take home, skies are shaded with green, like zombie enemies. First in the sea, the king can shade away. She was the morning with the brush on the option. Checking flicks for you, black and lovely, darkness and day. Suns are kind of cold by and take away any year fire and to me, I don't know, never can see. Open wide, going by the morning, throwing so bright, reaching out to the sky, and it's so very bright, your best with fight. It's a fantasy, and you're more than you could ever be. If you dream with your eyes wide open,
Cause you know, you can go back into the world, you're living, cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. So come alive. I see it in your eyes. You believe that you need to have your space. Afraid to step outside. So get out the door. But makes you stay that way. In the shadows. We don't have that no. So you see it all.
So come alive, dreaming with our eyes wide open, being more than we believe we could be. How do we come alive? I'm going to use today words like dream and imagination. And dream for me, I'm using them interchangeably. They mean a little different to me. The dream to me is just, what do you dream? I dream that I maybe have a little more hair up here one day. But my imagination would be how I'd be in the wind. Those lots of flowing. So my imagination deepens that dream, deepens the feelings I have with it, as well as the imagery that I hold with it. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, tells us that man accumulates a mass of ideas about substance and life, and with his and her imagination, he and she molds them into shape. Each one of us must not only see the image of our desires as a theory, an idea, but we must also form it into a living, breathing thing through our every motive and act, to make it a living, breathing thing through our actions. That's the fifth unity principle. Talks about this. It's not enough to know, to have the idea. There's an action that must take place.
That was my secretary.
Yeah. So talking about a dream and imagination, I look at my life. I have things that I would like to be different in Russ's life. Things that I would like to be different in Russ. And sometimes that's hard because it's change. It's that terrible C word. It's change. And it's easier for us sometimes just to stay the same because it takes effort, energy, action for me to be different. So sometimes I get caught up in that, just continuing on with what is and letting it remain what is, not making a difference to make that be a change. So for us to step out and have that different experience, that action is required for us. But there has to be something that we envision and act upon. Martin Luther King had a dream. He had an incredible dream. You know, when he spoke in August of 1963 on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., he was 12th in a line of speakers that day. He was the last speaker before they were going to do their close. And they had been planning that, think of this, dreaming and imagining about this event while taking action for months. And now they get to the day about the event, and they're hoping for 100,000 people to be bussed in and by train to come in and be a part of this event. And the organizer, Mr. Rustin, was asked very early in the morning of the event, what would it mean to the event and to the movement if 1,000 people don't show up? And I love this story because he took out a piece of paper and he perused it, and he looked at his watch, perused it, and he looked at his watch and said, everything's on schedule, and walked off. The page he looked at was blank. To me, he used that power of imagination to hold for this group that were questioning and having doubt that he was holding something different. He used his imagination to say, oh, I see it all on schedule. But also think about, as an organizer, the imagination you have to have to create that event, to get all those speakers there, performers there, to get the security and the permits, and also to get the people motivated enough to get on the buses, get on the trains, to come in for that event. Well, they had a 250,000 people there that day, not 100,000. And we know that Martin Luther King Jr. stayed up to 4:30. We talked the other night about doing our talks and sometimes staying up late. Well, he stayed up to 4:30 working with his speech writers on getting his speech for that day. He had been talking about his dream for a year already, but his advisors told him, that's old, that's worn out, that's trite. Don't talk about your dream. You need something new, fresh. So when he finally stepped up that day, he had about 3 pages that he was going to lecture to this crowd. And I say that because he pretty much stayed right on task till about 2/3 into his talk. He didn't very much off the script. Until Mahalia Jackson, y'all know Mahalia Jackson, the gospel singer? She had been there and been performing, and we hear that Martin Luther King had a great relationship with Mahalia. He used to call her to get some gospel singing therapy. He called them through her. But she can be heard in the background saying, tell him about the dream, Martin. And she repeated it. And he laid down his notes. And it's at that point where he started, I have a dream. It wasn't remembered well in the first years after that. But now 60 years later, you're hard pressed to find any politician or speaker that somewhere, sometime, quote Martin Luther King's I have a dream. It's integrated into our society. Martin Luther had a dream, and if you don't remember what came after that line, I have a dream, look it up on Google. I've also got a copy up here on the table. Just read that. Because he had this incredible image of his family, his children, of the world. He used his imagination. So it wasn't just a dream that I hope that we can come together. It was an imagination of he could see how we come together, how we held hands, how we played together. And that continues on today. It was a incredible also explanation of what the civil rights movement was at the time. He summed that movement up in that I Have a Dream. And that's why at some point that became so integrated into that movement that people of all colors have worth and value and should be treated with that same worth and value. But it didn't all happen, did it? That dream didn't get completely fulfilled, even 60 years later. But that dream continues on. It's still in other people's lives and experiences. They still have picked up that dream. And with their own imagination, have new ways of bringing it into the world to continue that. So for us, that imagination that we have for the life we want can impact the world just as powerfully. Maybe we won't have people celebrating us 60 years from by our name, but those ideas, those experiences in our imagination we carry forward because we brought it in to the awareness of the world awareness, the divine awareness. So, Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step, and even when you don't see the whole staircase. And that's part of imagination, because I can dream about that wind blowing in my wavy locks. You know? out there on the, on the beach, and the tides coming in, and the currents flowing. But you know what? If there's ever going to be any up there, Russ has to take some first step what that is, right? I can't just sit on the beach and imagine that wavy blowing in the breeze. It takes a step. And that first step maybe doesn't give you the image to show you where all the steps are going to go, what the final outlook is going to be. But it's that first step. And in that first step, to me, I always, in my imagination, I hold that image that I'm standing on this wonderful hill. And as I'm coming up the hill, I can't see what's over the hill yet. But I have to take a step. And as I get a step closer and closer, I finally get to the place that I can see right over the top of the hill. And it took a step for me to be able to see, to have that image. And now when I see that image, I know what my next step is. I know where the next place is for me to go. I know whether I need to weave just a little and sidestep, or whether I need to jump, or maybe I need to little inch up to a little more reservedly. But I don't know that until I take that first step. And our imagination, whatever our dreams are, that first step is part of that journey of imagination. It's just stepping forward with that. So, there's another quote. This is from Napoleon Hill, the author. First comes thought, then organization of that thought into ideas and plans, then transformation of those plans into reality. The beginning, as you will observe, is in your imagination. That event that took place 60 years ago, the Lincoln Memorial, boy, you'd think they had some ideas and plans to get all that taken care of. But it was in that imagination that started it off. But it took those plans being brought into reality. So that's our first step that we can see here. Abraham, in the book of Genesis, Abraham is known as really the father of the multitudes, meaning that all arose simple way to say that. But Abraham, here, I can read what Charles Fillmore says about Abraham. Yeah, he said, Abraham metaphysically means the power of the mind to reproduce its idea in an unlimited expression. The power of the mind to reproduce its idea in unlimited expression. I love the story of Abraham. It's this chaotic, eclectic life. You read it, it's got all kinds of turmoil and chaos and death and anxiety, but also discovery. Abraham was 75 years old before he really stepped out and began his journey, heading forward. And one of those journeys was, he went to the mountaintop. He was searching for God, and he went to the mountaintop. Whenever we read in the Bible, he went to the mountaintop, it means he raised his consciousness, his awareness. We might, figuratively say that he moved closer to God and being on the mountaintop. We know that's not God in the heavens. That is, he moved closer to his divine self, his divine God, that experience. And while he was on that mountaintop, he had a dream. He dreamed a dream. And the dream said, raise your eyes now. Look from the place where you are, northward, southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offspring forever. So to raise your eyes. It was basically, his dream was telling him, stop just looking at your feet, looking at the limitations that you have and that you believe about your life. Raise up and admire and see this expansiveness that's taking place. Excuse me. And raising up and seeing it, well, you get to see the possibilities. You get to use your imagination on where you go with this. So Abraham was really about taking this formless idea and bringing it into our reality. And as you've heard me already say over and over again, what do you use to bring that word that you've put on your white stone, or words, as some of us, are those affirmations, or maybe even those resolutions that you had in the new year? How do you bring those forth? What do you use? Action. But what had to happen before you got that action? Imagination. You had to think that there was something about this word. It wasn't just a word. It wasn't just a word that said action, because that's just a word in print, right? I can look at it. Okay, I get what action means,
Right.
But it doesn't have any action over here. And it's just a word. Until I imagine, well, what does action look like? What does it feel like? What's it sound like? What's it taste like? What do I feel when I experience action? And my imagination allows me to be creative with that, step forward with that. So we're daring to dream our dreams. Now, as I've gotten mature in life, I'm no longer the young pup that I used to be. I don't seem to have as many dreams. My dreams don't seem to be quite as passionate as they used to be. But I still have dreams. If I stop, think about it, give myself time, I still have dreams. And I know you do too. Each of us do. Even if we think we got too old to have dreams, it's not true. Abraham was 75 before he even started getting new wives and cranking out more kids and accomplishing some incredible things in his stories that are told in Genesis. I'm going to be birds here, of which was in 3,800 BCE. That means almost 6,000 years ago is when his story unfolded for us. And I just say that because our stories, our dreams, what we imagine can carry forward is who we are just 6,000 years later. And there are lots of folks talking about Abraham's story. So what is your story? What story you be talking about? And if you're unclear, then here's your exercise, your homework for this week. Sit down, take your piece of paper, and just write about what you dream about. Yeah, maybe it's blowing logs to go on your dreams. Maybe it's a companion. Maybe it's a new house. Maybe it's a less cluttered house.
Yeah.
Whatever it is on your, I just dream of this. And you may start and feel small. Of course, some of them may be big. You may know, I still want to contribute and make a difference in this, and I already give energy and time and take action with this, then yes, that's on your list. But you're not quite so certain about those big items on your list. Just what I dream of. I dream of a world where people know that feeling small and insignificant is okay, to have those feelings. But it's not okay to believe that that's all you are. You're more than that. So I have a dream that people are able to pick up however much that is, however much weight they can in that moment, to pick up that understanding that, oh, I may feel small, I may feel irrelevant, but that's not true. I have value, purpose, power. I can bring that into the world. And maybe the world will be a better place just because I choose to bring that. And I can put that on my list, whatever that is for you. So this week, make that list. And then I would invite for you what stands out the most on that list. And just sit down and imagine what comes up for you, what arises for you. Who are you speaking to? How do you feel? I hear a song. I feel a sensation. My body takes on a certain tone, muscle memory when I think of certain dreams. So how does it feel for you? Because we want to step into the world, become alive, to take that dream and dream it to the point that we shift and become the people we know and dream that we can become. Nothing flawed and wrong with this person. I may have things that I wish to change, different. But my dreaming and my imagination can deepen me into that experience of fulfilling that longing, crossing that line that she sang about in her song so beautiful, and seeing how far I can go with that. Because my life isn't over. Your life isn't over. And it doesn't matter whether it's 175 or 175. The life's not over. There's still life to be given because your life's not. So with that, let's play a little Elvis.
Yeah.
All right. Follow a dream. I got to follow that dream. I got to follow that dream wherever that dream may lead. I got to follow that dream. When your heart gets restless, time to move along. When your heart gets weary, time to sing a song. But when a dream is gone, there's one thing that you can do. You got all that dream, whatever that dream may be. You got all that dream, all that dream. Gotta find me someone whose heart is free. Someone to live for, my dream of me. And when I find her, suddenly find out that's what my dreams are all about. I wanna dream forever that dream with me. I wanna dream of you from me. I dream forever that dream with me. I wanna dream of you.
That's hilarious. I have never heard that song.
I don't know if I've ever seen that actual movie of Elvis's. I love that his song is playing on the radio before he dives into it. I'm not sure what all the scratching was about either in that song. But following that true. And that's what I hope that you pick up and take away from this today, is that dream and that power of imagination for whatever your dream is, to help you take, whether that's your white stone word, whether that's your affirmations, your resolutions, whatever that dream is in your life, that you can take that and come alive and move forward with that in your life. So, and I close before I move to meditation. I'm going to read you a poem. This is by Mary May Ash. And it goes, dare to dream and follow through to see your dream as real, true. The voice of vision sings through you, your efforts to inspire. Think your dream, for from your thought the substance manifests, and naught can quench the quickened faith that's fraught with spirits, life, and fire. Act your dream. Your deeds fulfill your prayers. You conquer what you will and bravely mount the steepest hill when Godward you aspire. Live your dream. Success awaits your magic touch, and God creates through you. Fling wide the golden gates of the realm of heart's desire. So dreaming with your eyes wide open to the world, far will we go? Far will we go? How far will we as a community go? Because we're in that transition, and we're at that place that our imagination is what creates the unity of Little Rock today, tomorrow, next week, and next year. So, right in that list that you're writing out this week, what's your dream for the unity of Little Rock? What's the imagination arise and tell you about unity of Little Rock in those days and weeks, months, years to come? Because holding that dream for you is just as powerful when you hold the dream for unity of Little Rock as well. So let's move into meditation. It's just as we relax. Whatever those thoughts and dreams and imagination that's been going on in our head, we just let those thoughts drift away. Like a beautiful cloud floating past in our world. Let our thoughts just drift away. So that we can become aware of the breath that rises and falls within us.
In this place, that breath is life. The life that was breathed into you on that first day of your initiation into this world. It's the same life that's dwelling today. It dwells in the person next to you, the one across the country, around the world. That same life flows. It's alive, active, on fire within you. That fire is a benevolent fire. It's always inherently good. So it's bringing to you an awareness, showing you a line and inviting you to cross. We use that imagination here and now. See that line. Step up to it. One step. Step over. Step into. Step through. Infinite possibilities. What ideal arises for you? Allow that dream to build. Add color to the palette here. Be live with emotion, feelings, sensations, vibrations. See that you've taken the first step in crossing water. That first step is now taking you into a new world, new life. Supported by the magnificence you are. You're expanding your awareness, expanding in your joy, expanding in your passion, your commitment, and your desire to see this dream fulfilled. The universal intelligence that permeates all there is and ever will be is offering you that image, allows you to expand and grow this dream. And claim whatever the image is today is growing. Your imagination is expanding. And tomorrow there will be more. And the day after, more still. till you reach that day that dream is complete. And thank goodness a new dream arises. New imagination unfolds. And the process continues. You still have life to give, heart to share, love to celebrate. As you bring your attention and awareness back to this room, the rise and fall of your breath, the awareness of your chair, your seat, your bed, or wherever you may be. Whether you've taken the first step, there'll be more to come. And that with each moment, that dream will deepen. Your imagination will bring clarity.